Hey there guys, how's it going? Back with another video. So, I felt like talking about this upcoming title fight at light heavyweight between Artur Beterbiev and his IBF mandatory from China, Fanlong Meng. Now, most of you guys will probably be aware that this fight was supposed to be happening over in China because Rock Nation got involved and won the purse bid, and the fight was meant to be happening over in China. But yeah, as there's been a lot of trouble over there with the coronavirus and whatnot, a lot of people are anxious to go to China based on that, and a lot of flights got cancelled and whatnot. So instead, the fight's going to be taking place in Canada, which is, of course, the adopted home country of the champion Artur Beterbiev. So I was somewhat interested by this fight, just based on the fact that I'm a big fan of Artur Beterbiev. I really enjoy watching Artur Beterbiev fight, and I felt that his last performance against Alexander Usyk really did exceed expectations. I think he showed a little bit of everything in that fight. Obviously, he showed power, which we all knew he had, showed excellent boxing skills. He also showed fantastic stamina and fantastic resilience and persistence in that fight. And I just thought it was a really good performance. It was probably the best performance of his career, in my opinion, and definitely the best victory of his career. And I was just intrigued to see him in the ring again. Now, this guy Fanlong Meng, he's 16-0 from China, with I believe about 10 knockouts. I think he has 10 knockouts if I remember rightly. But based on what I've seen of him, and I've been watching clips of him and whatnot, been watching as much footage as I can find. The best thing I can really say about Fanlong Meng is he's got a pretty decent left uppercut. He has scored some pretty nice knockouts with that uppercut, particularly when he throws it to the body. He seems to have mastered that shot, catching an opponent coming forward with the left hand from the southpaw stance, throwing it as an uppercut, and he's really, really powerful with it. Other than that, I see nothing from this guy whatsoever. Don't see anything from him at all that will trouble Artur Beterbiev in any way, shape, or form. I think this fight's a flipping mismatch, or at least it should be, depending on Artur Beterbiev. If he underestimates the guy, if he walks onto that left uppercut, then obviously, I mean, Beterbiev has been down before. He's been down multiple times as both an amateur and a pro. I mean, he was knocked down by Callum Johnson. He was knocked down by that other dude earlier in his career. So it's not as if Artur Beterbiev, has some iron chin. He doesn't. But based on what I've seen from this guy, I just think he is too open for somebody who is as precise and as powerful as Artur Beterbiev. Artur Beterbiev, as I mentioned earlier, has also shown a lot of stamina and a lot of persistence in the ring, which I don't really think this guy has. I mean, he was knocked down, this guy, just a couple of fights ago by that dude Adam Daines, I think he's called. Daines, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he was a Russian fighter based in Germany who was a bit of a prospect, who I think was unbeaten going into that fight, but hadn't really fought anybody, or at least hadn't fought anybody, anybody credible. I mean, he fought Stefan Hartel to a split decision, who was I've talked about him before on here. He's quite an underrated contender, but Stefan Hartel's a super middleweight and has no power whatsoever. The guy has like 5 knockouts, so I mean, it's not like Dines, was really that dangerous, and he dropped Fanlong Meng and went the distance with him in a very close fight. So Fanlong Meng, to me, himself has shown vulnerabilities at quite a low level. He's very open. He plods forward and walks forward, in that southpaw stance, just trying to land the uppercut. He tries to fight inside, but he doesn't really have the defense, to slip and slide and fight inside offensively and be effective with that kind of style. If he tries to get up on Artur Beterbiev's chest and work him to the body inside, Artur Beterbiev is just going to take a half step back and he's going to throw out a 1-2 down the middle. He's going to knock this guy out cold. I don't think he's going to be able to miss with the right hand in this fight. They say the straight right hand beats the southpaw. I mean, I see this guy walking onto straight right hands against journeymen, in so many fights that I've watched. So I think that Fanlong Meng is just a guy who has one puncher's chance in the fight, and that's his left hand. He's got a decent left hand, particularly the left uppercut. That's a decent punch, but I don't think he has a great chin. Like I said, he was down a couple of fights ago. He's been the distance against guys he really should have stopped. He's looked very average against just domestic level fighters. And I mean, he beat the best opponent he beat was probably Frank Buglioni, and Frank Buglioni was a decent domestic level fighter in his day, but I mean, this is the same Frank Buglioni that was stopped in the first round, in one round, by Callum Johnson. So how good is Frank Buglioni really, and how good of a victory is that for somebody like Fanlong Meng, who's going to be fighting the most dangerous puncher probably in the light heavyweight division right now in Beterbiev. So I think this is an easy fight for Beterbiev, and I think it's a fight that could possibly end in the first 4 to 5 rounds. I could see this fight ending early. In fact, I would be surprised if this fight goes the distance. I really would. So I'm going to be going with Beterbiev to win the fight by knockout. So it's a fairly quick prediction there. But as for what it means for the division, now I don't know what's going on with Canelo, but Canelo's just a. I mean, you guys know how I think about him. It's just parasitical what's going on with him. I just think that dude is, a product of the establishment in boxing. I really do. And would Canelo fight Beterbiev? I doubt it. But if they did fight him, you know what would happen? There'd be some, catch weight involved, or there'd be some um, contractual shit that would fix it in Canelo's favor. But assuming they don't get that fight made, because I'm sure Beterbiev wants the fight. I'm sure. He's looking into getting some of that Canelo money. They can maybe set up a fight with Dimitri Bivol. In fact, earlier today I did hear rumors of that. I heard that there apparently has been some talks behind the scenes for a fight with Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, and that of course will be a big unification. It won't be an undisputed fight, but it'll be a big unification because Bivol has the WBA belt and Beterbiev has the IBF belt and the WBC belt that he won against Vosdik, which technically made him the lineal champion. He's the lineal champion right now. So I would love to see that fight. I think that's a really big fight. I mean, they could do that fight in Russia. I mean, imagine that. Beterbiev versus Bivol in Russia would be a big fight. I know that neither one of them are really that well known in Russia because they've been fighting overseas. I mean, Bivol's been fighting mostly in America and Beterbiev's been fighting mostly in Canada. But it would still be a big fight over there because the two guys obviously had an amateur background in Russia, and Beterbiev was, quite popular as an amateur. He had two fights with Kovalev and whatnot. He was an Olympian, so he might still have somewhat of a following over there. But obviously, since he's primarily based his career in Canada and he's fought mostly in Canada, he's probably got more fans that he's developed as a professional over there than he would back home in Russia. So I don't know if they would make that fight, but if they would, I'd totally be down for it, man. That'd be really good. Big unification and um, yeah, I just think that the light heavyweight division, there's so many really really fun fights that could be made. I'm trying to think of maybe some contenders that he could fight. Obviously, you've got the likes of Joe Smith Jr. You've got um, Jesse Hart, Jean Pascal, who's still hanging around, and I think that him and Beterbiev are friends. I think they used to spar, so I don't know, but if they could get that fight on, that'd be a big one in Canada. Be a big fight in Canada. Those two. Obviously, I would favour Beterbiev in any of those fights. He'd probably knock any of those guys out, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't really mind seeing if Callum Smith moves up in weight. That's one fight I'd love to see, man, because I know that it's pretty much inevitable he's going to be moving up soon. I'd totally love to see Beterbiev fight Callum Smith. I think that would be a great fight, and I just hope that when he fights Fanlong Meng, I hope he gets rid of this guy quickly, and I hope he just does it without getting injured or whatnot. Because I know that Beterbiev, even in easy fights against journeyman, he's picked up injuries over the years, which have slowed down his career, and it took him a long time to become world champion. Because he was being sort of fast tracked early on in his career. Fighting former world champions like Tavares Cloud and the likes of Gabriel Campillo. I remember when he first turned pro, and I remember how fast he was being moved, and it was just a shame that his career sort of stagnated. But I'm glad that it's back on track now, and I hope he just stays injury free because I really do enjoy watching Beterbiev fight. Beterbiev's one of the most entertaining fighters in the light heavyweight division. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes from here. If he does fight Dimitri Bivol, which is obviously the natural fight to make. I mean, it just makes so much sense. That's the big unification. If he does fight him, I really don't know who I'd favour in that fight, but because Beevil's younger and more athletic than Beterbiev at this stage, he's probably quicker, probably got more stamina. But Beterbiev is without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, the bigger puncher. You know, Beterbiev has just better boxing fundamentals, in my opinion, better balance, and probably has fought the better competition since he's fought Vosdik. I mean, Vozdik's probably a better opponent than anybody that Beevil's fought so far. But Beevil himself has fought good opponents too, like Joe Smith Jr. and whatnot. So you know he's also beaten Pascal already. So you know Joe Smith Jr. and fighters like that could be a decent like stay busy fight for Beterbiev, but I just would like to see him step up now. You know, once he gets this mandatory out the way, and I'd like to see him step up and fight some of those guys, and because I really do think that this guy, is getting on a bit. You know, he's already in his mid 30s, and I think it would be good to see him, kind of move on with his career and move on to bigger and better things and get some of those big unifications and just keep taking those steps forward rather than steps backward, because he's taken a real step backwards with this Fanlong Meng fight. So I'd like to see him take a step forward and perhaps take on Dmitry Bivol. So that's all I really got to say about this fight. This Artur Beterbiev Fanlong Meng fight, I'm picking Artur Beterbiev to win by knockout within the first 5 rounds. So let me know what you guys think anyway. Thanks for watching, and yeah, God bless. And stay tuned for more videos. I know I haven't really been that active lately, but I'm gonna try and get some more fight videos out soon. And yeah, we'll see. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. God bless.